I was on the back end of a buffalo 5 days a week ploughing my fields. And then I woke up one day with this eureka moment. And there is genuine opportunities here to make a life.
Hello, please tell us your name and where you're from.
Okay, so my name is James Noble and I am English.
And what brought you down here to Thailand?
So I got invited many moons ago to be an instructor for Le Cordon Bleu in Bangkok. So as a chef, I thought it was a really cool thing to do, to be able to pass on knowledge. But after 4 years of doing that, I realised I was too young to be a teacher. There was no cut and thrust, there was no service, there was no anything. And children, well, I say children, teenagers, 16 upwards, they were learning things, but you could see that they weren't, it was just a process.
Yeah.
So after 4 years of doing that, I decided that I would stay in Thailand because I really enjoyed the whole vibe of it. I really enjoyed the embrace from the local people at that time. I mean, you're talking 26 years ago, right? So they were a whole lot different then, with less stresses and less baggage carrying forward. Thailand was a lot more free, almost like the Wild West, if you like. And I quite enjoyed that vibe of being able to do things that you couldn't necessarily do in a European environment, with all the red tape and all of that. So I decided that I would stay on, and 26 years later, a couple of cars, a few motorbikes, large screen television and a couple of kids, it's not easy to move on. So
A couple of kids, are you married to a Thai woman?
I was. I'm now a single parent, and you have that cliche, right, of, oh, you're married to a Thai.
Yeah.
If you go to England, you don't go, oh, you're married to an English person. But everyone asks that question. I live in Thailand. Oh, you're married to a Thai?
Yeah.
And you go, yeah. And then they say, oh, where'd you meet her? In a bar? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
You know, it was the proper courting, dating procedure, seeing mum and dad, and you know, not buying a buffalo, not help. You know, you hear all these cliches.
Yeah.
There was none of that. And there is genuine opportunities here to make a life.
Yeah.
The normal way you would make it at home. But that has its issues with things like language and culture and stuff like that. So you have to embrace it. You have to throw yourself into it.
Okay, speaking of language, do you speak Thai?
I do.
Speak fluently or a little bit? How good?
I don't think I speak fluent English, to be honest with you. I don't think you ever stop learning a language. When I speak to my mum or my elders, if in the UK, or older people, they come up with words that you've never heard, Old English, and you're like, that's not a word, and you challenge it, and then you Google it, or, you know, whereas you used to go to a dictionary, you now Google it, and you go, God, it is a word, I never knew that. So when you have a certain lifestyle in Thailand, and you're in a certain industry, you learn that industry vocabulary.
Of course, yeah.
So I learned that first, I learned culinary vocabulary, I learned basic Thai, and then you broaden it. As you have children, they start to learn the alphabets and stuff like that, so you embrace yourself in that. It's like learning again, the second wave, the third wave, and you never stop learning a language, you never stop learning culture. But yeah, speak good enough to get by.
You mentioned some things you like about Thailand, that's why you stayed here. What are some things you dislike or improve for you?
I've seen so many people come and go, man.
Yeah.
So many people with great ideas and great skill, and their downfall, which is everyone's downfall, including my own, is frustration. Frustration is the mother here. Because it has a different way, they go there, and there is no direct word for no. You have to go around Will's mother's all the way around the neighborhood just to get a definitive answer. And that becomes very frustrating. As I've gone on, I've learned tolerance a whole lot more. As a chef, tolerance just wasn't in my daily life, right? It just wasn't there. Now, cooking, having a restaurant, and learning culture even more, I've learned to go, okay, look at things in a 360 way before you make a decision, before you answer it. Like Thais will, they'll take a breath, they'll think about it, and then they'll give you an answer. Whereas us, we shoot from the hip. Right?
It's a great way of putting it.
Isn't it? Like, boom, we just give you an answer and you can't take it back.
Yeah, you're right.
once you've said something, you can't take it back. So Thais are very good at assessing before, but then that releases frustration because you want to get it moving a bit quicker. But they do a lot more diligence than you give them credit for. And that's below the surface. But from somebody who first gets off a plane, it's like, why is it not happening? I've asked it to be done. I've asked a simple question. And it just doesn't work like that. So I guess if that could speed up, it would be okay. But I've got used to it. I don't get involved in things that I can't change. I can't vote. So I can only deal with what the government gives me. Now, if you let that get under your skin, it will drive you mad. But what you need to do is go, okay, I will work with the realms that are passed down to me. So if they go left and I don't like it, I'll go right. I'll find an alternative way. Legally, but an alternative way. So just like any country really, the government. And the economy, I arrived here at 75 baht to the pound, it's now 45 baht to the pound. Huge difference. You know, you didn't necessarily have to worry about the weekly expenditure or the monthly expenditure. Now it's a little bit more different. It's on par with some of Europe. Some of Europe's dropped their prices to encourage people to live there. Portugal, Italy, you know, they're doing some interesting things to get occupancy back to that country. Thailand's now becoming a little bit more expensive. But honestly, what Thailand gives us or allows us is far better than what you get at home. The red tape is not there so much. Yes, you have to jump a few hoops. But if I was in the UK, my monthly expenditure would be huge. My electricity bill would be through the roof. My gas bill would be through the roof. Here it's tolerable. And you have to move with the times. You can't just sit there at the end of a bar moaning and groaning, the same bar that you go to every single day. You have a passport in your pocket, and if you don't like it, move. Don't moan about a country that's, in essence, quite welcoming.
Sure.
Right?
Certainly, I agree. So that's very interesting. You mentioned, you kind of hinted at it earlier, but what do you do for a living? Are you fully retired? How do you make a living here in Thailand?
Fully retired. I'd love to be fully retired. Are you saying I look old enough to be retired?
Not at all, but some people, you know, they have something going on, you know, on the side.
Yeah, no. So all I've ever done is food and beverage. So from Cordon Bleu, working in hotels, moving up to the grand heights of a general manager for 7 years in the same property. And then I woke up one day with this eureka moment that I didn't like the way that the industry was going. I didn't like the way the world was turning. And if I want to make a future for my children, I need to make a stand. Now, I'm not going to turn this ship. One man's not going to turn the ship. But if everyone does a little bit, the ship will turn, the world will change. So I moved out the corporate world and went farming. Farming. Here in Thailand. Goodness me. Dude.
Tell me about that.
I was on the back end of a buffalo 5 days a week ploughing my fields, permaculturally. I came up with the most, and I still think the most amazing concept of being a farmer for hotels. So instead of buying from me per kilo, you would rent space from me. And we would farm that space specifically for your hotel. So then you have the backstory, the provenance. You know exactly where your product's coming from, you know exactly how it's grown, and all of this. So we started that 6 months before the first wave of COVID, or whatever they want to call it. Everything shut down. I had 400 acres. That's a lot on the back end of a buffalo, right? So some was laid to rest, some was in fallow, some was in turning, some was growing. We had 30 12-meter polytunnels, which we rented out to hotels, and hotels closed. Now you can't tell products to suck it up. A tomato's growing, that vine will be growing for 6 months. Then all of a sudden, there was no need for it. So we gave it away. It was a bit of karma. People were desperate, you know, borders shut, things that you took for granted weren't there. So we opened our doors and said, okay, we'll have a farmer's market, but we won't charge you for it. Come and take what you need, and it's need as opposed to want. And we did that. Now, we thought we'd be able to ride it out, and then the second wave came, and then the third wave came, and I forgot where we are with the waves, but it was just stop, start, and you can't farm like that for people. So we gave up our farm. Reluctantly, I gave up my farm. It was an amazing opportunity to change the direction of the industry. Gave it up, regrouped, took a while, single parent, quite happy to devote time to the kids. You know, part of being here and having a work-life balance was to have that time with the children growing up. And then about 6 months later, I decided to get back on the horse. My bruises had gone, my ego had repaired itself. You know, I was less battered and sad about the whole loss. And then we opened a restaurant, and my children and I, we followed a process, a philosophy of a Japanese philosophy called Ikigai. And Ikigai is about doing what makes you happy, joyfulness, happiness, fulfillment, skill and passion. And instead of a religion, my Ikigai is very different to your Ikigai, because what makes me happy doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy doesn't make your girlfriend happy. So Ikigai in a philosophy is quite selfish, but you can't protrude happiness unless you're happy yourself. So Ikigai is all about making each one of my family happy and then having a united Ikigai. And it worked for us. It was an amazing life change. Stress went out, anxiety went out the window, worry went out. And we just filled our lives with joyfulness. And we took that forward and we opened a restaurant called Ikigai. And that's what we do now.
Tell me a bit more about that. What kind of food do you serve? What kind of clientele do you have?
We believe, and I've only ever been a chef in my life. I've always had food and beverage running through my veins. We believe that everyone should have access to great food. It shouldn't be the rich. It shouldn't be that echelon of people that go to nice restaurants because they want to be seen to be eating in a nice restaurant. They Instagram it before they eat it. You know, we decided that everyone should have that. So we have a restaurant that focuses on the 5 blue zones of the world, the people that live the longest through lifestyle and diet. So we focus on Japan, we focus on Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, and California as a pocket of America. And we do cuisine from those countries, either using the ingredient from the country or using a particular recipe or food style. And we use local products to do it. So we change our menu maybe twice a week because it's seasonal. We have heavy rain, so the figs that are not as ripe this week as they were last week, so figs came off. Tomatoes need sun. We haven't seen sun for a while because of rainy season, so there's no tomatoes on the dish. And we just represent Mother Nature where she is and what she's doing.
That's fantastic, man. I love the sound of that. I used to work in F&B myself.
Okay.
So I appreciate that, especially when someone takes the effort to go beyond just like serving someone some food so they're full now. You know, so, and it takes a lot of courage, effort, and dedication. So what's your biggest challenge right now with just the restaurant itself? Like, is it like getting customers in? Is it trying to have good staff? I mean, I was curious.
Yeah, I think you are what you eat. So if you have huge amounts of turnover on manpower, that's because you're not putting the effort in yourself. I'm rattling pots and pans every single day. Every single night I'm cooking with my team. If you're doing it, I'm doing it. If we're not busy, which we're not because it's rainy season, low season, we find alternative things to fill our time. So we have a couple of other offshoots in our business. We look after other businesses for people. We have a project in Sri Lanka currently that we're looking after, a private villa. We have a project in Chiang Mai that we're just finishing, a new concept for a large hotel. And we have the knives, the vintage steel that we do, the Japanese knives. So when the kitchen's not busy, we're sharpening knives, we're, you know, just keeping your hand in. And because there's nothing worse than being idle. And we've got great reviews, as you said yourself, but that doesn't mean we're busy. Because we haven't changed what we do on a daily basis. But Chiang Mai's extremely quiet right now. And don't panic because you're quiet. Don't panic if you don't do anybody. Don't change because you've got no customers. You've had it really good. You've hit low season. It's tough, we know that. But prepare yourself for that. Have different projects, have different interests, you know. And if all else fails, let the team go home early. Don't let them sit there until the empty restaurant's closing time. The kitchen closes at 9, the restaurant shuts at 10. If there's nobody in, go home at 9. And come in late and give back to the team, you know?
As part of the industry, I understand. Would you ever go back to the UK, or do you think Chiang Mai's are like permanent home? At least now.
Well, Chiang Mai is my recent conquest in the last 10 years. So I've only been here a short amount of time in my long serving time in Thailand. But would I go back? My mum's just about to move out here with me. We lost my brother a couple of 3 months ago. Yeah, 52 years old, full of vaccination. I just don't know. It seems that people are dropping down all over the place. Even fit and firm sports people are dropping down, right? We lost my brother, and for me it's important to stand up and represent. My brother would be proud that I'm bringing my mum here. So I've extended the hug and brought her over here. She's due here in the middle of October. Decorated her room, changed the bathroom. I mean,
Would that be her first time to Thailand?
well, she's visited quite a few times, so it's not alien to her. But as you said earlier, being a tourist or being somebody that flips in and flips out is very difficult and different to when you live here permanently. So let's see how she acclimatises. But we've got good people around her, and I'm sure she will. So with Mum coming out here, I don't think I'd go back now. You know, I bought England here. The last remaining piece of the puzzle is coming out here. But I do love cold winter days, sitting in a pub, open fire, chit chat, you know, walking into a bar knowing nobody, leaving the bar knowing everybody. You don't get that here. There isn't that vibe in Chiang Mai. You know, you can walk into a coffee shop and meet a few people, but it's not like the English. The English do embrace and you know, if you're on your own, you're never on your own for long. So I do miss that, but the cost of living and
How is the expat community here? Do you have any foreign friends, British friends, or?
yeah, I mean, I have a good group of friends actually. My father always told me that if you die and you can count your friends on one hand, you've had a really good life. Well, I'm on 2, right? And you do have to do. It's a bit like panning for gold. You do have to sift quite heavily, because there is people that have been here too long, or there is people here that are negative. And another thing my father said to me, you know, if you're surrounded by negative people, go home and read a book. And I've always remembered those 2 things. So being here for a length of time, I've managed to pan and get some real golden nuggets of people that have got something to say and have got an opinion. They come and eat at the restaurant, but they're not customers. They're mates. And I always say to people that customers are quite easy to find. You have great reviews, they will come. You have to ride the bad times and you have to work hard in the good times, but customers will always come. It's harder to make friends in my industry than it is customers. I work late, I finish late. Saturdays we work all day.
The busiest time of the weekend.
Right, and everyone's, you know, out and about and doing what they want to do. But people come here and they embrace what we're trying to do. They understand what we're trying to do. We get a lot of 70%, I'd say, repeat returning customers, which they came as a customer, they left as a friend, they come back as a friend, and You know, if you bring a bottle of wine, we have a corkage charge, but if you're a mate, we just let that slide. And if you really want that dessert, but not sure you should have it and we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. And there's not enough of that in the world anymore. There's not enough of kindness, generosity. There isn't that. Well, because we live next door, in essence, you're coming to my house.
Yeah.
Because our house is attached to the restaurant, we don't feel like you're coming to the restaurant. You're coming to see me at my house, and it just so happens we've got a restaurant attached
I
to it.
noticed as well, just the way you have the design of your place here. It seemed like I'm in someone's home.
Yeah.
Like, you know, upstairs, like you said, is the restaurant itself. Out here, you get the natural light. I love the place for sure. Any last advice for someone that's considering coming to Thailand to either retire or live long term? What would you tell them?
If you were considering coming here, it's a fantastic place, right? And you're here again. You got to do a bit of panning yourself. You got to get rid of the negative feedback. I mean, there's trolls and all sorts on the Facebooks, and you write something on a forum and you'll get attacked by this and you get attacked by that. And I look at it and go, goodness me, she only asked a very simple question. Why can't you just give a nice answer? You know, she might have spelled it wrong, or there might be some grammar wrong. Really? She was reaching out to people.
Yeah.
Don't let that deter you. Thailand is Thai people are fantastic. In fact, if you can throw yourself in amongst Thai people as opposed to your own people, you'll get a lot more out of it, right? Now, I'm not saying don't have a Sunday roast, and I'm not saying don't drink a pint of beer with the mates over a rugby match. But if you just put yourself in that circle of people, Thailand will pass you by and you'll miss it. You'll be here, but you'll miss Thailand. You'll live here, but you won't be part of it. So what you need to do is find that balance. If you can't speak the language, they'll give you opportunity. They'll be kind and considerate. Sign language, pointing, you know, as long as you're not rude with it,
Yeah.
they'll embrace you. But if you go and just throw yourself into an expat community, Americans, they come to Thailand, they love Thailand, they went from the Four Seasons to the Marriott, from the Four Seasons to the Marriott, and they had fried rice.
Yeah.
And they go, we've done Thailand. And they've missed it, it's just completely passed them by. You've got to embrace it, expect some failures, because that's part of living overseas. Don't worry so much, and Thailand will envelop you. It will put its arms around you, and it's a great place to live. I'm bringing my mum. You know.
That says it all.
That says it all right. Yeah, it says it all right if you're bringing him up. That's it.
So much, man.
No, man, pleasure. And we see some new people. It's always good.
That's good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of James' journey in Thailand. And if you're in Chiang Mai, definitely check out Ikigai Restaurant. I highly recommend it. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.